Tara Slone, noted rock star, joins to discuss her path to hockey and the much better vibes around the San Jose Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Probably part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we are joined by Tara Slone from the Sharks broadcast. Of course, you've seen Tara on everything. She joins where we discuss her kind of unorthodox path to hockey. Then we also get into the 2024-2025 Sharks, talk about the vibes, how they're just a much better team. She also gives the player that she thinks we're not talking about enough. And we talk about the future, why the future is indeed teal. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And now we have a little rock star, and Tara Slone's here. Tara, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
No, for real, a literal rock star in Tara Slone, gracing her with her presence. Yes, we've been trying to do this for a while, but we finally were able to do this. Tara, who's, of course, helps cover the Sharks, does some of the NBC stuff. Of course, you have Sharks podcast. Like, you're all over the place right now. You are getting ready to go into off-season mode. But wanted to have you on first to kind of start with your journey to hockey, because it is a very different journey. And then your thoughts on the Sharks and stuff this year. So let's get started with that. Again, Tara Slone, literal rock star. You actually were like a rock star musician. How did that happen first?
Yeah, I mean, rock star, I would use that term kind of loosely, but I did the thing. I was fortunate enough that I did the thing. I was part of an alternative rock band based in Toronto in the late 90s, early 2000s. We were called Joydrop. We put out 2 albums. We did pretty well. We had some hits, both in the US and in Canada. We ended up breaking out. A record company went under. It's like one of those stories. It's like so many bands, like, people wonder where they went. Well, the record company went kaput or something like that. So I was always a singer growing up. I actually studied opera, but I loved rock and roll. I worked in a record store all through my high school years. So and then, fast forward, I did a solo album. I did a reality show called Rockstar NXS 20 years ago, which is just
time flies.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
So yes.
But especially being on the reality show actually opened the door to television for me. I was being asked to do lots of guest appearances on Canadian entertainment TV shows. And so when I started to do it in a more serious way, I decided I wanted to turn my attention towards sports. I am Canadian. I grew up a big hockey fan, and it was our Saturday night ritual, like a lot of Canadian families. And I was just really fortunate, around the time when I was, really trying to move into hockey specifically. Sportsnet in Canada landed the NHL deal for 12 years, and they launched a show called Rogers Hometown Hockey, which I describe it to American audiences who may not have seen it as sort of like college game day. So it was a show that every weekend we went to an often small market across Canada. We had a festival associated with it. We had an NHL broadcast, but our pregame, postgame intermissions were all focused around the community. So it was a really amazing show that lasted for 8 seasons. And then the Sharks happened. So, it seems like a kind of a winding and strange trajectory, but it was very intentional.
I mean, growing up, right, you said you studied opera and, you wanted to be a musician. Did you ever see yourself working in sports? I mean, of course, you clearly love sports, right? You said you watched sports growing up, and do you ever actually see yourself working in sports, or is it like the rest of us, where we just kind of all of a sudden, oh wow, I'm working in sports now?
I don't think seriously, although again, American audiences won't know this, but there was a show that lasted a really long time in Canada. It was on TSN called Off the Record, and it was kind of just a sports panel show, a little bit like Pardon the Interruption or something.
Mhm.
And I was, as a musician, because they needed women quite often. They had a kind of a smaller pool at the time to choose from. I think that would really be different now. But I was on that show like 25 times. And then in the early days of internet content, I actually did some hockey stuff for them.
Mm.
So I did a couple of NHL awards. I did some fun stuff in the locker rooms. So, there was something there. Obviously, I think I kind of said to myself, well, maybe I could do this. But I don't think I seriously thought I could do this, but I did it.
I don't know. Again, I mean, I've been hosting this podcast for 5 years, and I don't know why people listen to me constantly, but for some reason they keep coming back. So if they keep coming back, you just keep putting out the content until someone tells you to stop doing it. So
That's exactly right.
You're born in Montreal, you grew up in Halifax, and you live in Toronto. Who did you actually root for? Were you rooting for a Canadian team, or did you pick like some weird team like the Blue Jackets or something like that to root for?
Well, no, I mean, listen, I was born in the 70s. And so my family's from Montreal. I think that's all you need to say. And especially also when you grow up in the East Coast of Canada, it's kind of like there's only 3 teams you can root for. It's Montreal, Toronto, or Boston. But when you have a Montreal family, that's who you root for. And, when I was a kid, Montreal won the cup in 86. So that was really my team. That was the heyday of my fandom. I was a huge Mats Naslund fan. Those were some glory years for the Habs. So I always say, it's okay for me to have my heart with the Montreal Canadiens because they preceded the San Jose Sharks. So they weren't even around when I left.
That's fine. That's fine. My old co-host Kyle grew up, his family, Montreal, his dad, big Montreal fan. His grandma gave him a Sharks hat, and that was it. And then he just became a Sharks fan because the colors were cool. And the colors are pretty cool. So
that's how it starts, man. I remember getting hockey cards. I think I had like Sylvain Turgeon and Dino Ciccarelli, and they became 2 of my favorite players just because I had the cards. So
I mean, and my mom, born in Philly, Flyers fan, Eric Lindros was my favorite player growing up. I loved Eric Lindros. I hate the Devils to this day. Scott Stevens can get out of here. Yes, to this day, still hate the Devils and Scott Stevens. But anyway, so you grew up a Habs fan, though. Who is your all-time favorite player growing up?
It was Mats Naslund.
Mats Naslund, okay.
Le Petit Viking. Yeah, he was. I mean, he's one of the first European players to play in the NHL, and just a speedy small forward. By all accounts, I've actually never met him, but by all accounts, like a really just wonderful human being as well. Obviously, still part of the Swedish program. So you see him at the international events, but I don't know what it was. Like maybe it was his hair. I was a kid. Like who knows? I mean, obviously I liked the product on the ice, but there's always a little more. Like I think I liked who he was.
My mom and Bobby Clark. That's
yeah.
That's She's still to this day still swoons about Bobby Clark. All right, then I'm gonna ask you, who do you think is the greatest goalie of all time? Then.
Oh my God. Of all time. I mean, that's
all time.
Of all time.
All time.
Oh my God.
There's one correct answer.
Patrick what?
It's Dominic Hasek.
Oh yeah.
No.
I mean, but that's the whole. I mean, that's the thing. Is it's at a certain point there are the top tier goaltenders, and also you're going and by eras too, right? But for me, obviously, Patrick Roy was the man at the time. I am a Dominic Hasek fan, though. He's also so colorful and interesting and outspoken.
I think because I'm like a little bit younger than you, and so like my generation, right? You saw the Hashik highlights, him doing the like windmills and stuff and making all the saves, and especially like pre-internet, like that was like, oh man, look at this guy, and you would try to emulate it as best you can in your living room and stuff, but and totally get rug burns for it. So, all right, before we continue with Tara and we talk about the vibes around this team and how they're just so much better, especially with Will and Mac around, do need to take a quick break. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment? It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete finance command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. And with easy collaboration, it's you and your partner can make things just super smooth and simple. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right. You kind of touched on it earlier, but the Sharks, right? You kind of finished up your previous job, and then you got, how did the Sharks thing kind of happen, right? There's just kind of mutual interest. They needed you. You're really awesome. It's like, just what happened there?
just awesomeness.
Resume just says rock star. Please hire me.
No, it was just, again, I keep saying I'm so fortunate, but I am, like, I feel these things, we all knew that hometown hockey was coming to a conclusion. It was really hard to have a big traveling hockey broadcast through COVID. And so we lost a lot of our broadcasts, and it just became logistically difficult. So kind of saw the writing on the wall. At the time, I certainly no longer was in a relationship with somebody in California. So it was a possibility in my mind. And so I had started to talk to the Sharks. I talked to my first point of contact, and I always give her a shout out, is Netta Tabatabe, because Netta is the VP of business and tech with the Sharks. So she's the one who introduced me to Jonathan Becker. And so we had that conversation, and, I met Scott Emmert, and then I met the NBC folks, Devin Fox and Sean Madison. And, it's not like these jobs were there and ready to be filled. They actually created positions for me, which was really great. I think they knew exactly who I was. They knew what I stood for, and felt like I could enhance, both the broadcasts and the, whatever elements, the content I could do for the Sharks. So just really grateful that they saw something in me and felt like they could create space.
First time meeting Joe Thornton, what was it like?
I'm trying to remember the first time I actually would have met him, because I'm sure it was before I got to San Jose. With Rogers Hometown Hockey, we actually did a big feature on his parents. So he wasn't around, but we spent a lot of time with his parents in St. Thomas, and did a big profile on him. And so I think I actually probably met him for the first time when he was with the Leafs. I was hosting a big Leafs event. But I mean, he is larger than life. He is exactly as advertised. he is exactly as the impressions that everybody does. It's like, it's just, he is one of a kind. I always enjoy bumping into him. He just puts a smile on your face.
Seems like a good dude to hang around. Definitely it's a good dude to hang. I feel like you would have, no matter where, when, you're going to have a great time with Joe Thornton. So this season, right? We know the Sharks team, not great in the standings, which is okay. But the vibes this season, especially you've been around the team for a couple of years, way better this year, right? Just the vibes off the charts, right, Tara?
Yeah, so different. So this is I wrapped up my season, at least game coverage wise, my third season. So yeah, it feels really different. Record is the same, but it's like what a difference the vibe makes. When you can see the future in front of you, and you understand the plan, and the plan starts to crystallize, then there's reason for hope. I remember last year, like around this time, I actually filled in for Brody at the end when he moved to baseball.
Yep.
So I was in studio, and I mean, it's just really hard. It's like really hard to try to remain positive about a team where you can't find many. And now, listen, obviously they won the other night against Boston, but they're in it. I mean,
Yeah.
most games they're actually in it, and you can see just, these sparks of magic. So vibes are good. I mean, obviously after the trade deadline, I think everybody was pretty shell shocked.
Yeah.
That was not a very fun locker room for a minute, but I think everybody gets it. Everybody understands the plan moving forward, and everybody, all the guys, they want to be part of it, and so even William Macklin, who lost his best friend to Ottawa,
Yes.
but he is a big part of the building blocks of the future of this team, and he knows what his mission is. So yeah, way different vibes than last year.
I mean, even going back to the 2023-2024 trade deadline, right? And you traded Tomas Hertl, who, like, let's say, it's not like we haven't been down this road before. And yes, the Zetterlund trade was very shocking, right? I was shocked and stuff. But I mean, I remember doing a podcast after the Hertl trade, and just like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, this really sucks, man. And not only did it suck that you traded Tomas Hertl, you also traded him to your like biggest rival in the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, that you're still going to see him like multiple times a season for the next like 5 seasons. Like, so yes, like
and he keeps having hat tricks still,
yes.
It's still that one's still kind of hard,
That my wife, who like that is her her Jonathan Cheechoo is number 1, and then Tomas Hertl is her second favorite Shark. Like, she loves Tomas Hertl. She's still a little mad about that one.
Understandable. Yeah, but again, if you really kind of look at the plan that has, very like, there's a timeline, and these players have to fit into this timeline. They have to be peaking at the right time. And obviously money is a big part of the equation. So yeah, but it is sad, man. It's, you just get really attached, and especially players like Fabian Zetterlund, who are, and Tomas, right? Who have such great personalities. They're so good in the locker room. I think Fabian really did a lot to keep that locker room light during some tough times. So, he was a blessing for that room. But listen, he's probably going to go play in the playoffs. Good for him.
Good for it. Yes. Of course, right. We kind of mentioned, but just Will Smith, Macklin, Celebrini, just the energy around these guys. And one, they're teenagers. Well, I guess Will Smith's officially not a teenager anymore, but just having like teenage kids in the locker room just provides a different energy. What's it like? I mean, just these guys, having these guys around.
There's like a bit of a dichotomy, right? Because they are teenagers, and when I walk by them, Will and Macklin play soccer, before.
Oh, we've seen poor Sharky still.
We've all been, almost been collateral damage. But you look at them and you're like, they're kids, they're giggling, like they're having fun. They're kids. They're my daughter's age, or just a little older. But then the maturity, with which they play and lead and take feedback and learn, it's astonishing. I mean, Macklin, he's 18. He's literally a child. But you see the guy chirping the refs, and it's clear he is a born leader. He hates to lose, and the whole team is rallying around them. But they have the product, so they are that good. So it's fun. I mean, it's a young locker room, right?
Yes.
So that makes it like a little bit silly, which is fine. It's fun. Yeah,
it feels like William Macklin, who's been there for like 2 full seasons. He feels like a veteran just because of one, how long he's been around the organization, and then 2, just because he is kind of one of the older guys. It is pretty crazy that just how quickly we've gone through just the change from this team. So, which used to be a very veteran team, right? And now it's one of the youngest teams. But all right, before we finish up with Tara, where I put her on the spot as she makes her Stanley Cup predictions, just need to take a quick break. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the shelled variety. I like the crack open. I like just salt version for me. Or if you would just want to make things nice and easy, they have the no shell variety. You can throw them in your bag, throw them in your desk at work. That way, whenever you need a snack, they're right there for you. So get snacking and get cracking with this snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. One player you think we as Sharks fans maybe aren't talking about enough?
I just think Colin Graff has come a really long way this season. I just started to notice him. Like he was just, even if he wasn't scoring, his chances, not that I don't look at the analytics necessarily, but they look like, grade A chances. His presence was starting
Tara's
to be felt.
Nerds, watch the game, you nerds.
But I think analytics are interesting. I just I don't have sport logic. So, but they look like grade A chances. He is making his presence felt. He's making plays. He's a big presence on the ice. So watch out. I think he's got a really strong future.
Agreed. Yes, might be one of Mike Gers had a lot of shrewd moves. Colin Graff might be up there with one of the moves that he's pulled off. So, of course, right, you do a lot of interviews and stuff. Interviewing parents, always an adventure, right?
I love it. I love it so much because it's kind of what it's all about. I worked the NHL draft for a lot of years, and as much as it is about these kids being drafted, it's really about all the work that these families have put in, all the drives, all the tournaments, all the money, just all the dedication. And so when you see it paying off and the pride and the love, it's just these moments of positivity and in that moment there's a dream coming true. Like who can't get behind that? So I love it. It always just puts a giant smile on my face because these parents are beaming.
Yes.
It's such a lovely thing.
Especially because it's usually like they're making their debut or it's one of those things. And I'm sure it's having gotten to talk to a couple of the parents before they're very proud of their children, and yes, they're very happy for them. So Mama Macklin, shout out to you. Yes. All right, what was your favorite moment from this season? I know we still got a couple weeks left here, but your personal favorite moment from this season?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, now I'm blanking. I wish I'd prepped for this one. I don't know. Come back to me.
Okay, we'll come back.
I'll send you an email. I'll send you an email. You can tag it on to the end of the broadcast.
There you go.
God, I don't know. Everything is a blur.
Some of mine. I'll just go with some of mine. Maybe one will bounce off there. I think kind of having even that opening night, right, and then having Celebrini kind of do his first thing, and that's the night where you're just okay, all this pain and suffering we went through last season, where you're literally one of the worst teams in NHL history. It's fine. That moment really sticks out to me. I think is one of my favorite moments of the year. I think that Boston game, which they lost, but that was the game where things clicked for Will Smith, and then they just found that other gear. Those are a couple of my favorite moments there, where it was just you're okay, Will Smith's gonna be okay, guys.
Yeah. Screw the naysayers. For me also, I am back living in Toronto now. And so I got to work the game here in Toronto last time. They played, obviously they're playing. But that was, first of all, that was a great comeback. Was that Zetterlund's last game as a Shark?
No,
Did he score?
no, it wasn't his last game.
Second to last?
It was, I think it was the week before the trade deadline. So it was like one of a couple games. So,
not much before.
So,
so
but
he gets the shootout winner. Ontario guys, make themselves known on the ice. Really fun. So that was a standout for me personally, just because it was really cool to have the Sharks in my hometown. But I'd have to think about it. I don't know. I'd have to look back. Listen, I'm a middle-aged woman. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast.
All that hard living as a rock star catching up to you.
Is that what it is? Okay. Let's call it. Yeah,
we'll just blame it on that. You'll be fine.
Sure.
Yeah, just blame it on that. So it makes you more mysterious and adventurous, I think.
Yes. Yeah. It's much more glamorous than saying it's like hormonal perimenopause.
All right. So you kind of mentioned, right, you're done with the broadcast kind of part of the season. We're still getting the undercurrent, right? So are you just going to continue to keep pumping those out over the summer?
Usually I end in June at some point. So
coward, 5 days a week like the rest of us.
No. But yeah, definitely a bunch more episodes coming out, and hoping what I have done the last 2 years is kind of towards the end of the undercurrent season. I catch up with some prospects. So I'll hit the Sharks up and see, who's available. Hope like Sam Dickinson, or, try to get to know some of the guys that we may see in the future in San Jose. So
those guys are coming really quickly. So like with the undercurrent, you definitely do try to kind of get some different faces and voices on the show, right? Because we have enough white bearded guys talking about hockey. I can mute myself now, but is that kind of the goal, to try to represent some different people and some different voices and try to get their voices into a community that definitely, right, we need more of everybody else?
Yeah. Like I said, the Sharks really knew who I was and what I stood for when they decided that they wanted to work with me. And so that's kind of the directive, is just giving a platform to people who are making a difference in hockey and pushing the envelope. And not all of them are in the Bay Area. So it's really, it's kind of an international show. And I do, I also do find people in the Bay Area to cover, because there's a lot going on there too. So, but yeah, there aren't that many opportunities to meet all of these people. So I really enjoy it. It's a way for me also to, stay current on what's happening on the hockey landscape and who's really making a difference and opening up the game to new audiences and new players. So it's a great joy for me to do that.
All right, we'll get you out here with a couple. One, the future is teal, correct?
Correct. Obviously.
Right?
Yeah.
So we know, the Sharks, you feel like the foundation is getting close to being done, and it feels like Mike Grier is going to be kind of shifting here. He did say this is the last season that we hope to be big time sellers, right? So trying to be. Please, I want to talk about a winning hockey team.
Can't do that anymore. Too much heartbreak. Yeah.
Please. Realistic expectations for you next year. Do you think this team is? Again, we have a whole off season. We don't know who's going to be here, but can we be maybe the Ducks, right? Who are kind of fun, that fun and frisky phases. I always like to say that team where you're at least they're giving you something fun every night. They're competitive. They're winning more games. Is that kind of your hope for next season, or are you we're going to the playoffs, baby?
I think obviously there's going to be some reliance on off-season acquisitions, and see who comes into some roles, and it will depend on how quickly. I think there's probably a way to make this team better quicker, but is that part of the plan? Judging by what happened at trade deadline, no. So I would love to see a team that's even kind of on the bubble, but I would say maybe 2 years away from the playoffs.
Makes sense. All right. One last question. Mike Grier comes to you guys, Tara. One player that the Sharks can acquire. It doesn't matter if they're on a team or not. One player that the Sharks can acquire, and I'll go do it. Who's the player?
Nathan MacKinnon.
We already have a Nathan MacKinnon at home. His name's Macklin Celebrini.
No, we both of them. Yeah, okay, fine. All right, Cale Makar. No. Let's just blow up the Colorado Avalanche and take them, all their players. Cale Makar. Let's pick Cale. Yes, you're right. We probably need more defense. Let's do that.
Cale Makar's pretty good at hockey too. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of those guys, but either one of those guys would be really fun to have. But yeah, Nathan
Yeah,
McKinnon, yeah,
yeah.
he's really
I
good.
mean, I grew up in Nova Scotia. It's sort of like in my blood to like, either say, I wouldn't say Brad Marchand, but although he'd be good too.
Him on the Panthers is going to be, it's just like the perfect fit, especially with like Kachuk and Marchand is just going to be so much fun when they like actually start to get going here in the playoffs. But I cannot wait to watch that because everybody's going to hate to play the Panthers.
Oh my God, they're going to be so annoying. It'll be great. Yeah, will be awesome.
It will be on. They're so annoyed. All right. Actually, one last question. Who wins the cup this year? Who are you rooting for, and who do you think actually wins it? So
I'm rooting for Winnipeg. I think it's just my Canadianness, and wouldn't it be nice to see them lift a cup finally? And they've had such a great season, but I don't know. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Colorado is definitely a beast.
well, until Cale Makar comes to San Jose,
yeah, and then until we just,
yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know, man. I might go with Colorado.
I can see it. They're so good right now. They're so good. Yes. The way they just dismantled the Sharks without even trying a couple weeks ago, like it was pretty easy. As long as it's not the Leafs, right, Tara? Just not the Leafs.
Listen, I have lots of friends here in Toronto, a lot of Leaf fans. But
you're the Bart Simpson closing the shade thing if they win the cup. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Tara, thank you so much for your time. Where can the people find you? Whatever you want to
I'm on all the things. Well, I'm not even on. No, I'm not on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Instagram's probably my most active platform. So at Tara Slone, TaraSlone. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Tara. We'll talk to you. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. I do want to thank Tara Slone for taking some time out to join to talk about the Sharks. It's funny. We talked about Colin Graff literally the day that the Sharks played the Maple Leafs. And of course, Colin Graff had a massive game that game. So got the Tara Slone bump before he even knew it. So, but thanks to Tara for coming on and spending some time with me to talk about the Sharks. Make sure you're checking out all of Tara's work, especially the Undercurrent, wherever you get podcasts as well. So that's gonna be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow to break down the Ducks games. Make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.